que estamos a preparar nunca foi feito. Levámos o antigo coordenador da Polícia Judiciária, Gonçalo Amaral, ao local do crime, para mostrar o que aconteceu a Madeleine McCann. Esta reconstituição vai permitir-nos perceber quem falou verdade e quem não o fez.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. Well, I hope wherever you are, especially if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you're enjoying the warmer weather, the spring. I know I have been, and I've got a really interesting surprise to share with you guys, so hold on for that. Now, being physically present at a crime scene has so much more value than trying to figure things out secondhand, almost like a voyeur. When you are present in Praia da Luz, you feel the slope of the roads and the paving. You feel the blazing sun in the day and the chill of the wind at night. But what else do you need to see and feel? Probably the most important is that you get a real sense of scale, the size of things, the length and breadth of the resort, its true proximity to the Tapas bar, as well as the distance to the beach, as well as the network of roads linking all of this. When I previously mentioned the importance of measuring the distance from the Tapas bar to apartment 5A, some of you scoffed. But here we actually see the lead detective placing this aspect first and foremost in his investigation, where he lists as the first contradiction in the McCann statements apparently having to do with distance.
A primeira contradição tem a ver com a distância. Todos os envolvidos, salvo Kate, afirmaram que quando se deslocavam para ver se as crianças estavam bem, utilizavam as portas da frente dos apartamentos. O que significava terem de fazer mais de 100 metros em comparação ao que fariam se acedessem pelas janelas de correr. Apenas os McCann confirmaram ter essa janela não trancada, justificando que conseguiam ver a janela de correr a partir do Tapas.
Before we get to the rest of this analysis, for the Brits out there watching, and I assume there are quite a few of you, I am in Tenerife right now, and I'll be sharing some of my on-the-ground observation, that's photos, videos, and of course insights in terms of the fabric of the Jay Slater case. Remember that. And I'll be doing that in the next day or two. So do watch this space if you followed that case when it broke. If you're finding this analysis worthwhile, also if you don't want to miss these interesting updates, you do want to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and let's get started.
The holiday flat still draws attention for some. For me, it feels strange to be back.
I feel a real odd bond with this place. I spent so much time thinking about what might have happened here.
Same here. Yes, I definitely know the feeling. And this is my second visit in 5 years and after 5 books. So what have I learned that I didn't already know during the first recon? Now, I'm not sure if I didn't know it, but it certainly has crystallized, certainly has become a lot clearer. For starters, I actually went to the Tapas restaurant for the first time and measured the distance, exact distance, from the table to the front side gate. And this is important. I also measured the distance to the front door. And then something else. I went along the perimeter of the Tapas bar to confirm that is there another way of accessing the Tapas bar besides from the front, besides from the apartment side? Guess what? You can actually access it from the rear as well, from the tennis court side, which is also crucially the side closest to the ocean.
Nunca a investigação judicial foi capaz de fazer a reconstituição daquilo que aconteceu.
A reconstituição não foi feita porque houve quem defendesse que isso seria considerar a família suspeita, bem como o risco de fuga. Desde o início que a Polícia Judiciária foi pressionada para não investigar este caso como qualquer outro.
Now, obviously, going to the Tapas bar and walking the route is doing precisely this important work. Now, I'm not sure why they refer to it in the translation as a reconstitution. He means, of course, a reconstruction. But he's right. This crucial aspect, which is a classic tool for police detectives, simply wasn't allowed to be applied in this case. Why? Why not? Would they have discovered something if they did? What would they have discovered? Now, let me start by telling you what I observed. First of all, the bar and restaurant is a lot closer than it seems to apartment 5A. It certainly feels closer than the 50-meter span to apartment 5A than it actually is. I actually found myself forgiving Jerry for saying it was almost like having dinner in your garden because, well, it almost felt like that. Near as it was, it still wasn't near enough to hear or for that matter see anything, especially not from 5A, and certainly you couldn't see the door. And oddly enough, when you're there at the Tapas bar, it seems that 5A is probably the furthest apartment as the crow flies from the Tapas bar than any of the other Ocean Club apartments. The more important issue, though, to address isn't distance, but time.
The answer is time.
How long does it take to walk from the table to apartment 5A? Well, you can see it's been recorded on video, it's been measured, and it's very clearly measurable on Strava. And the distance on foot to the side gate is about 100 meters, and it takes almost precisely 1 minute. The distance to the front door, and that's the door beside the bedroom window overlooking the Ocean Club parking lot where Madeleine was supposedly taken, is basically double the time and double the distance, maybe slightly more, 240 meters, and takes around about 2.5 minutes. So first of all, I was quite astonished how close the apartment was in time. It was closer than I remembered. And this means a check would barely take 2 minutes. And if the checks were every half hour, that would leave like a window of at least 25 minutes for a would-be abducted to do his thing. That's plenty of time. Now, it makes sense that the story might go that they, looped around the far side just to explain why a check might take longer. But even if they went around the long way, it was still barely a 5-minute check in total, and that still left that large 25-minute window. What I think many fail to see, and I've seen in the comments people getting very upset about me even referring to an abductor, do you know the lead detector does too? He calls it at times a simulated abduction. Now, whether real or simulated, a reconstruction gives us an idea of how much time is needed to do what, where, and when. Does that make sense? Another gaping hole in the narrative is we're told when various people make their checks. But do you notice what we're not really told? We're not told when they are back at the table, when the check is complete. Have a look at this timeline from Sky News. Do you see what's missing? The Guardian does a much better job sketching in some of the more subtle details of the timeline. Now, in this more detailed explanation, are we told exactly when Jerry leaves and exactly when he returns? And you know what? I don't think it particularly matters. I think what does matter is that the checks are supposedly at 30-minute intervals, and it ought to take only 5 minutes to do a check, if not less. So if you're away for longer than that, what is going on? Now, it is interesting that of all the other checkers, Jerry seems to be the only one who takes longer than is absolutely necessary. He stops to talk to someone, even apparently crosses to the other side of the road. All of this takes time. But again, we aren't told the most crucial information. How long is he gone for exactly? And then we want to approach this problem from an opposite angle. If someone either abducted Madeleine, was it someone from somewhere else? Was it someone from Luge, in other words, a local? Or was it someone who actually stayed at the Ocean Club? Someone who was aware of the movements of people at the hotel, either guests or staff or otherwise? All of these questions are important because depending on the answer, they might involve a vehicle or they might not involve a vehicle. It might involve a nearby apartment outside the Ocean Club or something else. And of course, we measured that too, on foot in the dark. The shortest route from 5A to a certain section of beach and back to the Tapas bar. How long do you think that took? I'm not going to take it further than that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.